8:26 a.m. in the morning on January 11th. And of course, I'm up to share an experience that I just had with you just moments ago. And I'm calling this Beyond Body in a Flash because it was literally just a very brief glimpse. But the reason why I'm sharing this, and normally if it's this short, I would be hesitant to actually share it because it was very, very quick. But I have now had two instances where time seems to have been somehow manipulated within whatever reality I'm in. So I felt that it was prudent that I should share this because now I have two instances, two things, two pieces of evidence to me. I don't know where this evidence leads. I really don't. I'm not sure. Let me share the first experience that I had. I didn't share it before because, again, frankly, it was such a short experience that I just thought, okay, this was, I don't know, it was kind of an anomaly. It was strange, and it did not, in that moment, it didn't, to me, have enough substance or meat for me to be able to share it here on this channel. But let me get into the first one. And the first one, I didn't feel all those familiar feelings of motion. This seemed to be a place that was very close to me, and I just seemed to come into it. And sometimes that is what happens. Sometimes I don't feel the motion. Sometimes I don't feel the turning sensations and all those other things. Sometimes I just simply feel as if I come into the world, as if the world just comes into being and the darkness lifts and I'm there. And this was definitely the case here. When the darkness lifted in this first reality that I was in, I was walking down a sidewalk. And as I walked down the sidewalk, I noticed that there was what appeared to be a marching band. Now, this marching band didn't seem like any marching band I'd ever seen before because the people that were part of this marching band didn't necessarily have on the uniforms that are generally associated with marching bands. They were dressed very nicely. They looked sharp. I mean, they had on what I appeared to be suits or very nice sweaters. And it's so interesting because when I was in high school, I was in marching band. That's something that I've never really talked about before in this channel. And I played lead snare in a marching band on a drum line. And we went to marching competitions, we competed, that sort of thing. Very nice. I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to do it, to compete, to do all those things. It was a very kind of a cool thing. The reason why I tell you this is because so I know certain things about marching bands because I did it for some time. And so I'm watching these people coming up, they're marching, and I'm thinking, okay, they have on regular suits. I'm just kind of following them down the sidewalk. But again, they did look to me like a marching band, with the exception of the fact that they did not have on marching uniforms. They did have instruments, and I heard the name of my school, right? My high school. And I thought to myself, that's the name of my high school. I just heard it. I heard somebody mention it, and I'm thinking to myself, someone just said the name of my high school. This seems to be my high school, well, I didn't recognize any of the people. And of course, again, this was, gosh, I was a marching man back in the 80s. So, the people that were marching, of course, I didn't recognize them. And by the way, my particular high school in this reality was closed a few years after I graduated. So that school has been closed for many, many years, at least in this reality. By the way, it has been closed. So I was watching this band again, heard the name of my school, and as they marched, suddenly, time, I'm going to try and describe this to you. In one moment, they were marching in one area and just moving forward at a normal pace. And then, in a flash, they moved from that spot to literally, I don't know, maybe 40, 30, 40, 50 feet. In a flash, they went from one place to another, almost as if time had skipped over for a moment and they were suddenly there. And they moved, but you know what? And it wasn't like I couldn't see them as time seemed to skip over a moment. It's like they moved so fast from one moment to the next, impossibly fast. And they were in another place that quickly. So it seemed to me that time had somehow been manipulated in that moment. And then they continued to go. And then as the band, they had stopped, and then they were setting up their musical stands in the street. Again, a very strange thing, because in marching band we didn't do that kind of thing. I mean, we just marched through the street. And I walked up to someone and I said, "Excuse me." And then as I was getting ready to ask them what the school or what this was or whatever, I was pulled back in. So I wasn't able to find out exactly what that marching band was. But let me get to what happened today, 1/11/21. It was 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and I had just come back from using the restroom, the usual thing. I was lying down, eyes shut, storm sounds on in the backdrop for those of you who are interested in that. And as I was lying there, normally I do see things. I see images, things like that. When I'm really tired, I'll see flashes of places that I've never been to. This morning, it was very murky, very kind of a distant thing that I was seeing. I wasn't able to see things quite clearly. And of course, in the last week or so, things have been difficult because my friend passed and my state of mind just hasn't been there to be able to go and have an experience. So that may be a part of it. I believe I'm just coming back slowly into being able to do what I do. Eventually, I felt that sense of, okay, I'm here. And I did feel good about it. I felt good about the fact that finally it was happening again after some time. I could feel that sense that things had changed, that I had hit that sweet spot, that I was right in the middle between being asleep and awake. And I felt a sense that someone moved me on my left side, and then I felt as if I was falling off my bed, and I stopped. Then, and this was a very distinct feeling, guys, I felt the distinct feeling of hands, very strong hands picked me up and set me on my feet. Very strong, very distinct. Normally, I do feel a force doing this, but this was very much, I know these were hands that were doing this. The darkness lifted quite quickly, and I found myself on a bus, a public bus. We were in motion. It was very interesting. We're passing through some city. It was downtown or something like that. And at first, it was so interesting because I had this sense that I was panicked, as if I was in a rush, as if I was late for work, something that I'm never late for. I'm always on time for work. So I was distinctly panicked, and I remember that feeling as being the initial feeling, like I need to get through this quickly. I don't know why, because it wasn't anywhere near time for me to go to work, at least in this reality, by the way. Perhaps in that reality, I was on my way to work and I was running late. I'm not sure. But as I was looking around on the bus, there was something that happened that was, again, very strange, very unusual. Day, and it was daytime on this bus. It was light. I could see different things going by, different places, businesses, that sort of thing, buildings. Day instantaneously turned to night. And when I say instantaneously, I mean it was daytime when I was looking around at first, and then suddenly it was night. That quickly. The bus, by the way, I should tell you that the bus was full. There were people there. There weren't any masks that were being worn, so they weren't having the same issue that we're having in the world right now, I think, at least in this reality. And the other thing was, once day turned to night, I started looking around to see if I could see something that I could take back for you, because I'm always looking for a name, something. And so what I'm about to tell you is the name of a business that I saw, which looked like either a car shop or a perhaps more specifically a mechanic shop. It was a big place, and it had the following title on this building: IS City, CITY, $, and then I couldn't see anything else after that. I don't remember anything else after that. I probably did see the rest of the name of this place, but I'm not able to bring back the full name. What I told you was what I saw was just a brief flash as the bus was passing by. And not long after that, I was back. And it's so interesting. Again, these two instances, time seemed to be manipulated. I'm not sure what it meant. I'm not sure what it means. I will leave it up to you to give suggestions, thoughts on what you think it may have been. I'm not sure. But two realities where time seemed to be manipulated in some way. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on this journey with me, and until next time, take care.